The final thing we have to do with this graph is to measure the slope to find the source resistance of the battery. Now remember, V equals minus RS times I plus V naught. And so we expect the slope to be a negative number. In other words, minus RS will equal the slope. It's clearly a negative slope, so minus RS will equal a negative number. So RS is just basically drop over run, or negative of rise over run. Now, the simplest way to measure the slope is you've got to pick 2 points on the line. And I'm going to pick a point at 150 milliamps, where the line there. Again, you do not pick a data point, you pick a point on the line. And I find it convenient to pick a point where the horizontal run is a nice number, in this case 150 milliamps. So the delta I there is 150 milliamps. If I wanted to write this in amps, that's equivalent to 0.150 of an amp. Now, that's the horizontal run. Now what about the vertical rise? That point there, this is 1590, 92, 94, 96, 1597 is about there, 15972, 15974. So that's about 1.5974. I can actually extrapolate to the next place. Up here, let's look at this line. Let's look at where the intercept is. It's almost exactly on 1.620, so I'll take that as the upper limit and that as the lower limit. So the delta V will be 1.620 minus 1.5974, put an extra 0 there, do the subtraction, 6, carry the 1, 2, 0. So, the slope of this graph, RS, is actually equal to negative delta V over delta I, is negative 0.0226 over 0.1500. Now I've been very careful here to convert that from milliamps to amps. If I want my answer to come out in ohms, the top line has to be in volts, the bottom line in milliamps. So we finally calculate actually minus RS equals minus 0.151 ohms. So we can say RS equals 0.151 ohms. You will also need to measure the slope of a line of worst fit, look at how different that is from the slope of the line of best fit, and deduce what the uncertainty in that is. And of course the other thing we can read off here is the intercept V naught is equal to 1.620. It's always good to draw a graph by hand to get a good idea of what you have to do to choose scales and to make measurements. But once you can do that, don't feel restricted. Try and use, say, something like a spreadsheet. You can actually put this data into Excel and get it to plot the graph for you. And Excel, when I put the data in, produced me a graph that looks like this. And I asked it to put a trend line on and to display the slope and the intercept of that trend line. I measured by hand a slope of 0.151. Excel, with linear regression of this data, said 0.1501 was the slope, and Excel thought the intercept was 1.6201. I had just set it 1.620 from a hand-drawn graph. So you can see there is a computer-generated graph of the data compared to what you can draw by hand.